Hey, Miss Ray. It just says recording in progress, and you have to say got it.
Okay. Ta-ta. Got it.
So how are you this afternoon it is afternoon there too, right?
Yes, it is. Well, I'm quite well, actually.
Ooh. So did you walk this morning with your new puppy dog?
Yes. And I thought he was going to do really well, but he just pulled me around the whole time. It's a good thing, doesn't weigh very much. But it was a lot of fun.
Where is he now?
He's with Adam in the living room.
Oh.
And he'll probably go to sleep because he had quite the long walk. So I don't have to worry about him.
So sometimes you said you carry him in a pack.
Yeah, but he's gotten so, I didn't take it today. He walked the whole way.
Wow.
So he can walk longer and longer.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it is.
So what are we going to talk about this afternoon?
Well, I was trying to think about what we were going to talk about. And I mean, nothing to me has really surfaced.
Well, I don't think we've talked about growing up in segregation yet. That's one thing we had said we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
And then another thing I thought about was since Molly wanted to know about our ancestors, one thing I was thinking about that's interesting to me anyway is the church angle and about how Mammy went to, was it Peace College that she went to?
Yeah.
And that's where she became religious and things like that. So I thought about those two things.
I realized that's where she became religious.
Yeah. So, according to Mom, Mammy's family was not religious, and she went to Peace College. And I don't remember whether it was her music teacher or I don't remember who it was, but anyway, somebody there inspired her to become religious. And so she was her whole life through from that time on.
I wonder if she's, born again.
No, I don't think it was anything like that. I think she became a Presbyterian, and Presbyterians are they call us the frozen chosen.
Well, that makes sense.
So then when she became Presbyterian, then she was part of the Presbyterian church in Roxborough. I didn't look up to see when it was that she actually joined the church. I'll do that so we can report later. But so Mammy would go to the Presbyterian church and Pappy would go to the Baptist church, and he was active there. And I don't remember what his parts in the church were. I don't know whether he was Sunday school superintendent or seems like he had some kind of office there. Mm-hmm. But Mom and Earl and I think Mom and Earl and Annie Long and Nancy would go with Pappy to the Baptist church. And then Mammy would take Darcy so that she could keep an eye on him and the baby Marion to the Presbyterian church. So that's how it is that they grew up in different traditions.
Well, I thought that Mom went with Mammy's. Well, maybe she did some, but she was Baptist, maybe baptized Baptist or something.
I don't remember her talking about her baptism. Isn't that funny? But no, Mom became a Presbyterian when she married Daddy, because he was Presbyterian. And so she became a Presbyterian then. So she grew up Baptist.
I know she said she went up to all the, what do you call the big?
Like altar calls. Altar call.
No, it's the word that
The tent meetings or revivals.
And she would go to the Baptist, and then she probably went to the Presbyterian, but she said that she went to just about all of them. I guess they were in summer or something. Does that sound right?
Uh-huh. And Mammy used to play for the tent meetings when they'd have a big tent meeting revival. And Mammy would play. And that's where Mom said that she would be scared to death. They just scared her so bad, about hellfire. And so she would go up every time. That's so sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember worrying about going to hell, but not like that.
Yeah. I don't remember that I worried about that very much. I worried about how bad I was. And I remember sitting on my bed, and Mom would be there, and she would be trying to comfort me, and I would be crying because I was so bad.
Oh, Betty.
And later on, I realized that it was probably because of that teaching,
Yeah.
These horrible sinners, and somebody has to die for us. And so it makes me really sad to think that she would say, "You're not bad, Betty," and I would just cry.
Oh, goodness. That's fun to do that to some kid.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that's really not so good.
Well, I can remember, and I'm sure I've told you this, but it used to be that there would be devotions and, gatherings in the school building that, there would be a prayer, and sometimes there would be ministers that came. And I remember a guy came once, I don't know who he was, but I was in elementary school, and he told this story about this father who was going to leave for a period of time. And so he took his son to the back of the barn, and he must have made some kind of grid. And he said, now for every day, you're good, you bang, hammer in a nail on this day. So, so you would come back and he'd see how many nails the little boy had hung up. So the little boy wasn't that oh yeah, and the dad said, and you have to, if you've been bad, you have to, let's see, no, I got this backwards. You hammer a nail on every time you're bad.
Oh.
Then when you're good, you can take the nail out. Oh. And so towards the end of the period of time, the little boy worried because he had a lot of nails up. So then he started doing good things and taking a nail out. And he'd do some more good things and take another nail out. So dad came home. The son was so excited and said, Daddy, come and look at this. Come and look at this, my calendar. And the dad went out and he went, oh, son, he said, this doesn't count because the marks still show. And so I always worried about the marks were still showing.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and the other one I remember, it was somebody else, or maybe this guy, I don't remember, but he was telling a story about there were some very bad people that came to this town and they killed everybody in the town except this one little boy.
Ugh, good
Oh,
gracious, Ray, you have some terrible stories.
no, but I know every time they killed a person, they had said, okay, you have to stomp on this cross or you're going to die. And nobody would stomp on the cross. So that person was killed. His mother wouldn't stomp on the cross, so she was killed. His family, everybody in the town. So then it comes up to this little boy and they say, okay, you don't have to stomp. You can just tap your toe on the cross and you'll be saved. And he did not tap on the cross and he was killed. And so
Well, that's inspiring.
I thought I would stamp on the cross. You know,
Gee, willikers.
no wonder we're so messed up.
Isn't it the truth? It's a wonder we survived.
It is.
Isn't
Yeah,
that terrible?
it's awful.
Well, it has some good parts to it too, but the bad parts sort of mess up the parts that are good.
Well, I only remember feeling the bad parts. I'm sure I felt some good parts, but I don't remember them as well.
Yeah. Well, I want to add before we finish that that Mammy was the pianist at the Presbyterian Church for 40 years. We should say that.
And her name is in one of the hymn books, you know. Isn't her name in one of the new hymn books?
Some of the book plates are in her honor. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. It seems like there was, oh, well, one thing I wanted to mention too about how the religion got handed down was about Mom, and she was pretty much a free thinker. I mean, she wasn't really party line religious at all. And but she said that at Sunday school she liked to listen to Ms. Bullock and I forget who the others were. She just liked to hear them talk, although she didn't agree with what they said, which I thought was interesting.
That is.
And then about Mom, well, one thing was I used to worry so much about what I believed that, I didn't believe the theology. And so I was really, really worried. This was in college. And she would say, well, Betty, you can't help what you think. But I thought that I must be able to because that's what you hear. You got to believe and so forth. But then I was thinking about how for her, the main thing was the 23rd Psalm. And it reminded me of that story about you going with her to Duke Chapel.
I don't remember.
You said that you and she went over to Duke Chapel. This was, I don't know, would this be in the early 2000s, I guess? And I don't think there was anybody there. And, or at least, negligible people present. And you guys sat down there for a little bit. And then she said the 23rd Psalm, and you said it was so amazing. It'll probably come back to you. But anyway, I remembered that.
I do. I remember, I think it was Bear and I went to see her, at the extended care. And I think that's where we were. And she, you know, said the 23rd Psalm, and she did it was, oh, it was with such passion. And I mean, I felt like it almost made a believer out of me. And Bear and I, you know, just teared up. It was just so beautiful. But she was in the bed, you know, she wasn't, you know, sitting up. She was lying in the bed.
She would say, all I know is I asked the Lord to help me, and he does. So that was pretty much her religion.
Yeah.
I think. So I don't know how she escaped all the worry after her frights in childhood.
I don't either. I guess she was just a tough little nut.
She was.
And I just remember she would say, you know, the Lord, and he helps me. And she'd say, I don't worry about things like the virgin birth. And she'd name off a couple of things. And she said, but he helps me.
That's kind of neat to be able to go to the, you know, the nourishing parts and just not get hung up on the scary parts.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about Daddy, and he stopped going to church. And but he had been active. He had been Sunday school at the Presbyterian church, the little one. He had been active. He'd been Sunday school superintendent. And then all of a sudden, Mom said, all of a sudden, he just stopped going to church. And when I was in graduate school, I think it was, he told me that when his father died, he went to Anderson, South Carolina, you know, to be with the family. And he said that when he got back, the preacher never mentioned anything about his father. And he, you know, it was a tiny congregation. And Daddy said, I never missed a Sunday, you know. And he said, I just couldn't understand that. And I thought, how can this be true if this happened? So, but he loved the preacher that we had in the 50s, Mr. Courtney, the one who married Ted and me. And so Mr. Courtney was a regular at our, was it Sundays he usually came? Anyway, often come to supper.
Sunday lunch. But I mean, it was like a dinner.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. But he loved Mr. Courtney, and so that was kind of sad, but that's when he stopped going to church.
Well, because it seemed like I must have asked him and about when did he quit. And I think I remember that he said, I don't remember the minister that he was walking with, but they were, you know, I guess there were some paths and I don't know where they were. And he and the preacher would periodically walk. And one time, a lady who had been, you know, at the nursing home, I guess, or a sanitarium, and I don't know, but she was obviously out of her mind. And he said she was unkempt, and I don't remember if she had shoes or not, but he saw her walking. And he just couldn't believe that if there was a God, that there would be somebody so, infirmed. And, and I think he thought she was agitated or something. Do you remember that he told the story some?
Yeah. And I think well, I was trying to remember the name of the place now. For some reason, I can't remember it, but it's out Chubb Lake Road.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Didn't we?
Beg pardon?
Didn't we look at it? I don't know if we were looking for Daddy. I think so, or for somebody, because I think I went out there with you.
Out Chubb Lake Road?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, I didn't remember that we looked out there, because it's been sort of like what they used to call the old folks home. But yeah. Daddy and the preacher would walk out that way. So that's several miles, really hilly. So it was quite a walk. But I remember they would regularly walk out there, and I think they would see that lady more than once. I mean, I think she was kind of regularly, that's what she did. Just continually walk. And my impression was it was something like she was mourning her children or something like that. And he said, yeah, that he couldn't understand that. But I don't think that's when he stopped going to church. Mm-hmm. But it probably made it so that when that other thing happened, it just was too much.
Was the other thing with Mr. Heaton? Was it Mr. Heaton that was the... I don't know. I kind of think it was before that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it was. But it might have been. About him, except it was a real angular, thin person, and all he needed was a broom.
His daughter was Bernice, and I think the church was in touch with her off and on after they had left. So I would say too about the little Presbyterian church. It was on what Mom called back street, and it was right beside the house that Mammy and Pappy lived in before they built the big house. And the little church was white wood, and it only had a front door, no back door. And so I think I've told this before on here, but if they were having a wedding and they believed that the groom and the bride shouldn't see each other until they were in the church, then the groom would have to come in through the back window. They would put a ladder up, and the groom would come in through the back. They had curtains so that you could put up a curtain in the front of the church, and so you wouldn't see the groom climbing in. We have 10 more minutes, it says.
Okay.
It says I can upgrade now and save 40%.
How much does this cost this way? It's never cost me anything.
Yeah, well, it hasn't cost me anything either, but they keep reminding me that we could chat away more.
Oh,
but
probably.
Anyway, in that little church, there was a little bell tower, but I don't think we had a bell up there, but it had a little steeple. And it had 2 little classrooms in the front of the church on either side of the door. Do you remember them?
I don't remember.
And in one of them, there was a door that went up into the steeple. And so on the way up to the steeple, there was this little area that we had some chairs in. And so our teacher, Nancy Crumpton, used to climb up. You had a great big step to get up to the stairs. You had to get onto the stairs, and then you could go up the stairs to this wide area where we had our chairs. So that was the primary class. So
how did she up a big step? Because she was shorter than we were, wasn't she?
yeah, she was very short. So I don't know how she did it. Maybe she stood on something. But in 1950 or so, then we built the big church down further down Back Street. By then it was Lamar Street. We had come up in the world.
Yeah, we had.
Those are kind of the main things I remember about our family history. Dad's family was Presbyterian, and Mom's family was Presbyterian and Baptist. And I don't really know about Pappy's family. I suspect they were Baptist from way back.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah.
I wish I did know more about Daddy's family. But I don't remember much. I mean, I don't know that I'd even remember their names now.
Daddy's family.
And Daddy's family. You know, all the kids.
I think we talked about that once, and I think we made a list, but I'm not sure.
I think we did too.
Yes.
And we got them all, but we weren't sure if we got the right order.
Yeah, we weren't sure about the order. But you can find that on Ancestry or whatever. So
yeah. Wonder what we would find on Ancestry. We talked about that once too, didn't we?
I think we did. And I've done a little bit on there, but not much. I just don't know how much to trust it. So
I remember looking around once years ago and finding Irvin Marion's marriage certificate license.
That's very cool.
It was cool. I wonder what year that was. I know it was after World War II, but that's all I know.
Yeah.
In the Philippines.
So is there anything else we want to say about our ancestors' religion?
No, we don't know much to say.
No, we don't. Now, Daddy's family, he talked about having a Scots-Irish ancestry, and Scotland is huge in Presbyterianism. So I guess that's, came over from Scotland in his family. And I don't know where the Baptists came from.
Do you think Mom knew that? Because I think she always said, they were English. And that was the only one she mentioned.
Well, it seems like in some of the things that Susie Schloss is sharing from Mary Susan's collection, that early Longs came over from France, I think.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
About how long ago was that? Do you have an idea?
What?
Do you have any idea how long ago that was?
It was at least the 1700s, I think.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. So I don't know whether we were part of the Huguenots or not. I think Ted's family had some connections with the Huguenots, which I don't remember exactly what they were, except I think they were good people.
Well, I hope so.
Let's hope. So before the end of my free program, we need to talk to our descendants and wish them well in their philosophical journeys.
Yeah.
Whatever they think about life, the universe, and everything.
Yes. It's good to think about and kind of, it would be neat to talk to each other too. Actually, it would be neat. I'd like to talk to the kids about that. But Molly only gives me like 10 questions I can ask at a time. That's very limiting. So then next time we talk about growing up in the South.
Yeah, segregation and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was oblivious to a lot of that.
Yep.
Which I hate yet, but
yeah. Yeah. That was really shows you how oblivious you can be.
yeah.
You grow up in a system. Things are changing a little bit now, but not enough.
Yeah.
I guess it's fit. We get better by fits and starts. Mostly fits.
Yeah. This seems to me just to be a pretty terrible time, you know. But that's another story that maybe we don't have to get into.
At least not today. We just say that if any of our descendants happen to listen to this, things will be much better.
Yes.
Just be glad that things have gotten better. Let's hope. Okay, Miss Ray.
Okay, Miss Betty.
Next time we talk about the cheery subject of segregation. We're going to have to think of maybe we need an interim topic that would be more fun.
Yeah, we could, but I think in some ways it would be good to go on and do it and get it over with.
Okay.
We can see because we're flexible.
Yes, we are very flexible. Well, much love to you.
Love to you.
Anybody who might be watching.
Give Bratcher
the Bratcher wave. Much love. I'm going to turn off the recording now.
Okay, I don't know. So you do it.